Hello everyone, it's Tana. Welcome back to the channel and another video for the Rabbit Hole Designs. And today we're working with Blended Sentiments 2 from the November release. This one has a lot of cute sentiments. We have Caffeine and Quarantine, Caffeinate and Create. And really quick, this is the pinwheel stencil. And while I use these shimmer powders, I'm going to read the rest of these to you. Well, Latte Da. Happy birthday, better latte than never. Does this coffee make me look productive? Sometimes having coffee with your best friend is all the therapy you need. Coffee, the vodka of mornings. Tea, the gateway drug to biscuits. Caffeine, because adulting is hard. Current mood, caffeinated and feisty. Too much Monday, not enough coffee. There is a time and place for decaf, never in the trash. And social distancing, not coffee distancing. So for the first one I'm working on here, I'm using the stencil with the shimmer powders. For the second one, we're going to use the shimmer powders, and then we're going to use the stencil on top of it after it's all dried. Sorry if you hear my furnace kicking on. Like I said, I think in the last video, it's that time of year. And being the only one home while Dan's working overnights, I cannot go in the car to do my voiceovers. So this one I wasn't too sure about the color choices until it dried, and I added a little bit of the lilac waterfall. And let me tell you really quick why it's in that container. Because Jackson decided that he was going to empty out 2 out of 12 shimmer powders. He didn't empty them out completely, but I did manage to save some of that lilac waterfall, and that was the container that I put it into. So here I'm showing you that I looked up a couple images for the third. I squeezed in a third card for this video. I wanted to do something fun with one of the sentiments, and I looked up images online of garbage cans and trash bags, and then kind of just sketched out my own and went over them with a black marker and then colored them in really quick, but I'll show you guys that later. So after this panel has dried, I'm adding some gold Luxe, Nouveau Dream Drops, and I believe Indigo Eclipse. So I'm putting the gold into the circle patterns of the stencil, and then I'm putting the Indigo Eclipse, I believe that's what it's called, I'll put it on the screen for you guys, into the little like diamond patterns. And when that's all done, I'm going to just very carefully take my stencil off of there, and I'm going to let that dry. And I thought that turned out really cool. So now for the first panel, we're going to put some foam tape on the back of that, and we're going to put it onto a black card base, 100-pound card base. And I'm going to glue my foam tape down as usual to make sure it stays where it's supposed to stay. And I'm using my Nouveau Deluxe adhesive for that. It is my favorite glue. So unless they stop making it, it's probably one of the few glues you'll see me use. Now I'm going to work on the sentiment strips, and I'm using a piece of, I cannot remember what this is called, lilac, I think. It came in a Simon Says stamp kit, and I never made the kit and made cards out of the kit. But I thought the color was perfect to go with the first panel. And then the second one came from an MFT cardstock pack, and I will put that color up for you because I do have that color, just not in front of me. I'm going to pop this sentiment up on foam tape, and I'm going to take 2 pieces of metallic thread, purple and blue, both metallic, and I'm just going to loop them into a rough circle. And I put a little piece of purple tape around it to hold it in place. And now I'm going to put a second layer of foam tape down, but not where my purple tape sits for the loop. And that way everything sits nice and even when you put it on the panel. And I'm just going to add a little glue to that and make sure that that stays where I put it. So now I'm going to use those tiny iridescent bubbles. And I put those, I don't show you, I don't know what happened to that footage, but I put them all over the card panel. I will show you at the end. And now I'm going to take this second panel here, and I took a piece of this Tonic mirrored cardstock. And of course I cut the center out because I hate to waste it. And we're going to glue this panel right on top there just so it has a small edge all the way around. And now I'm going to show you my final garbage bags and recycling bin, all colored and cut out, fussy cut out. And this panel is going to be popped up on foam tape as well, with glue to adhere it to the black card base. And I'm going to do the same thing with this one. We're going to put some gold metallic thread this time and form a loop with it, put some tape around it just like we did before, and then we're going to double up the foam tape so that that loop can sit on the strip without a bump. And this one, I believe I put in the center of the card this time. And for this one, I'm going to use some of the gold confetti sequins that I received from Rabbit Hole Designs in one of my orders. And I'm just going to place them from the bottom left up to the top right. Now for the fun card, as I call it, because I usually don't do stuff like this. It's a little different for me. I took a piece of, I believe it's called Watercolor Wishes from Lawn Fawn's paper pad. And it looks like a cloudy sky, so we're just going to glue that onto our card panel. And then I cut out 2 pieces of grass, and I just used some mowed lawn for the color before I cut it out. And I'm going to pop that second layer up with some foam tape so I can put the recycling bin behind the garbage bags. And then, of course, we're going to use the sentiment we're going to use for this one is there is a time and a place for decaf, never and in the trash. So I'm going to take the word decaf and the word trash from the sentiment and mask them off so that there's only one word on each garbage bag. So one of the garbage bags says trash and one of them says decaf. And I'm using Wow Superfine Opaque Bright White embossing powder to stamp those out, or to emboss those. I stamp them out with Versamark. So now I'm going to glue that whole panel onto the card base, and it's just a white 120-pound card base, that accent cardstock I bought on Amazon. And now we're going to stamp out our sentiment, which of course is the there's a time and a place for decaf, never and in the trash. By the way, while I heat emboss that with clear embossing powder, the gold card has the sentiment, sometimes having coffee with your best friend is all the therapy you need. And I believe the first one says caffeine because adulting is hard. I believe that's the one I used. I had a hard time choosing which ones I was going to use. So I'm going to glue that recycling bin flat to the center of the card base, or card front, and in the center and behind the popped up layer of grass. And then I'm going to pop up the top parts of the trash bags and just glue the bottom part straight to that front layer of grass. And then we're just going to stick that sentiment straight in the center at the top. And this card is done as well. So hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe if you like what you saw here today. Don't forget to sign up for the Rabbit Hole Designs email so you can be aware of all the inspiration and sales and everything else that they have to offer. We'll see you in the next video, guys. Bye-bye for now.